हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय अनदर वीडियो ऑफ स्पार्क। आज की वीडियो हम लोग थोड़ा रैंडम टॉपिक के बारे में बात करेंगे। ऐसी टॉपिक के बारे में बात करेंगे जो आपको ज़रूरत होगी प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट करने के लिए, स्पार्क प्रोग्राम एज अ बिगिनर लेवल स्टार्ट करने के लिए। ये टॉपिक इम्पॉर्टेंट है, इट्स नॉट वेरी स्पेसिफिक, बट ये जानना ज़रूरी है और ये धीरे धीरे इसके कॉन्सेप्ट बिल्ड होंगे जो अभी मैं बात करने वाला हूँ इस वीडियो में। अगर आप मेरे चैनल में नए हैं और अगर डाटा इंजीनियरिंग फील्ड में आप मूव करना चाहते हैं या उसमें एक्सेल करना चाहते हैं तो प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल, इट हेल्प्स मी अ लॉट। और वीडियो पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक और शेयर जरूर करें। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। जैसे हमने प्रीवियस वीडियो में देखा था कि देर आर डिफरेंट वेज बाय विच यू कैन execute your Spark program. You can execute your Spark program in Databricks. You can execute your Spark program in your local machine, like how I have done the setup in my desktop. In my previous video, I have shown you how you can do the PyCharm or the Spark setup in your Mac OS. I'll come up with a video of the Windows. I'm not getting any Windows laptop. So I'll try to get it in this week, and then I'll make the video how to do the Spark setup in the Windows laptop. So now we have learned about that. We know that how we can run the Spark in the local ways. What is the client mode, what is the cluster mode, what do you mean by master, what is the meaning of local 2? Like I have explained earlier, 2 means there is 2 thread, so it's way of simulating the parallel process with the help of multi-threading. So now one thing I want to tell you, how you can access the Spark UI. Spark comes with a UI which tells you about how the job is running, where the job is stuck, what percentage of job has been completed. You will not get the direct answer that what percentage of the job is completed, but you will somehow come to know that the job is at which stage or how much percentage is completed. Now this is my cell, like so you, with the help of, I'll just come out of it first. So with the help of PySpark, you can go to the PySpark cell. When you click on the PySpark, so it will start with the Python version which you have set and the Spark version which you have. Now you see few things here. I'm just trying to focus only on the Spark UI. Now you will see here, somewhere it's written, yes, Spark Context Web UI is available at this one. This is a local host. So whenever your Spark session is on, so at that time Spark UI will be initiated or it will be hosted in this port 4040 by default. Just copy this one and we'll go to this. So here I have already opened this one. So again I will just paste the, and then this kind of UI you will get. In this UI, like now this is blank, but there will be one driver will be added. So one executed driver is added. So you can see the name executed driver is added. So there is no separate driver, no separate executor in this case, because I have run the Spark cell. So this I am running in a local mode and there is no cluster manager. We don't have a cluster, and this is the client mode. So this, there will be only one JVM in which there will be a driver and that same will be an executor. If you increase the number of thread, if I make the thread to 5 or 6, so ideally it should have 5 thread, and it will have the 5 thread, but you will have a single container because you are running in a local mode, you are running in a client mode. The container or the JVM will be single. In the single JVM you will have the driver and all the executor running, or all the parallel process running. So this is the case of a client mode, a local mode. So you will see a executor driver is added. So in this UI you can look into multiple details. I'll cover the UI detail in a separate session, but just wanted to give you an overview. Whenever you run a Spark job, you can go to this UI and get the detail. So this UI is the live UI. It means like this will be active by the time, till the time your job is running. I mean to say, like if you have, if I just exit from the Spark cell, now I have exited from the Spark cell, and now if you go I and refresh this, this will be not be available. So this is available till only the particular time. Now the question arises, whenever there is an issue in the Spark, how you will check the log? So that you can go with the application ID. There will be, if you're working on AWS, you can go to CloudWatch or any of the monitoring tool in which the Spark has been configured. The other way is you can go to the history server of the Spark, where it will be kind of a similar UI, and there from there you can get the history thing. So the important thing is to get the application ID, and with the application ID, you can get the Spark log in multiple ways. So we are not going into that details now. So now I'm going to cover like how you will start with the Spark program, how you will start writing the Spark program. I have already created an structure. So in the previous videos, I have explained you how to do the setup of PyCharm. So once you have the setup of PyCharm, you can start the new project, and that also I have shown you in the previous video. You can refer to the previous video. I'll write in the description. I'll give the link in the description. So first of all, I'm trying to make a program, right click and make the Python program in which I'm trying to create just two data and changing this data into a data frame. So what I'm doing, I'm just creating a Spark session. Now the question is, what is Spark session? In a simple language, if you want to understand what is Spark session, consider Spark session as a driver. So whenever you start a Spark application, the first thing from the Spark application gets started is your driver. Why it's so? Because driver is a master, and it will start all the executor in different container depending on how we are running the Spark in a cluster or in a client mode. So considering this local version, we have everything in a single JVM. So first of all, you have to create a connection to Spark. You understand it in a simple way, like whenever you write a Python program or any Java program and you want to connect to a database, so you connect to a database, for example, Oracle database with the help of ODBC or JDBC connection. So you create a connection string, and that string value or the connection string is stored into one variable, and you use that connection string in all other, like if you want to fire a query in Oracle with the help of Python. So you will use that connection string dot, and then you will fire the query in the Python code, and it will get fired into in your Spark Oracle system. Here also the same thing we are doing. We are trying to connect to the Spark framework, which is installed or which has been done the setup in your cluster or in your client mode or in your local mode. In my case, it's a local. So I'm creating a Spark session. So for that, Spark session is very important. So you have to create the Spark session, and there are multiple parameters we give the Spark session. So I told you, consider Spark session as a driver, because Spark session is the first thing you create when you are going to execute or whenever you are going to write a Spark program, Spark application. And similarly, when you submit a Spark code or Spark application, the first thing which get initiated is driver. So you can consider Spark session as a driver. So you can give the app name, you can give the master, means how you are trying to run it. If it is in a cluster, you have to give yarn here and get or create. So if you just give dot, you will get all the options which it accepts. And also you can go to the Spark documentation, which I have already told you in the previous session, and that will help you to get the all the details which you have. So when your Spark session is completed, you store that value in a Spark. Now you created data, this is an array of a data, and when you're trying to don't focus on like how I'm going to create this data into a data frame. Just try to understand how you're working in a Spark. So with this data, I want to convert, like this is normally a data structure, a normal computer science data structure. This has not been converted into any RDD or data frame. So whenever you convert a RDD, or whenever you convert a data structure into RDD, it it converts into a distributed data structure. This is a simple data structure of a computer science, what we have learned in our colleges or in the starting of our journey career. So this we have to convert into distributed layer or distributed data set. So for that, we have to either convert it into RDD or we have to convert it into data frame. So what I'm doing, I'm converting it into data frame. So data frame is built on the top of RDD. For me, data frame is RDD plus schema. Giving a structure to an RDD is a data frame in a simple language, which I tell everyone, like this is the simple understanding of data frame. Don't get into more details of how it gets converted. So when you click on data frame, just hover the mouse, you will see it's written somewhere. It's written creates a class data frame from a class RDD. So anyway, so it's creating RDD is created in the behind the scene, and on the top of that, we are giving the structure. What is the structure? The structure is the column name, which is CT and temperature, and this structure combined with the RDD creates a data frame. So that goes behind the scene. When you write the command create data frame and gives the structure to it, you can give the structure from the parameter and anywhere else, but this is the basic of it. Now this is how you run the Spark program. If I run this code, just click on this. So you get the data frame. Now the other thing is I have run this program in the interactive mode in this particular thing. But if you have to run this program, if you have to run this, submit this program in a cluster, in a production cluster, you will not log in into a cluster and run the program. You have to submit the program. So Spark comes with a utility Spark Submit. So I have written it somewhere. Yes, Spark Submit. Then the Spark Submit, you have to give the Python name. So this is the Python name. So if you are running in S3, so it's S3 path. So this was for someone else. I was explaining it. So this is the Python code. Like for example, this code I'm want to run. So this is a commented, just for your understanding. I have written it there. Spark Submit will be not a part of your program. You have to run this program from any Linux machine. So from Python also you can run this program on any Linux machine. So you have to do Spark Submit, give the program name and all the configuration. If required, you can give it here. Give it here. Else there is no if there is no requirement, you don't need to give it here. So by this way, your Spark program will be submitted in any cluster, right? Now, one more thing I want to make very clear is, like, when I am writing a program, I create a Spark session. So in the Spark cell, when I have opened the terminal, there I have not created the Spark session. So how I was able to connect to the Spark? So when you see here, when I have run the command PySpark, you will see here Spark context is created as SC. Earlier we used to have the Spark context, but now we have a Spark session, which gives more flexibility, more functionality. We're not going into detail of the difference between Spark context and Spark session. But you see, when we are running in a cell, like this is a PySpark command. With the PySpark command, I'm connecting to the Spark. So it's creating the Spark session with the name Spark. So in the interactive mode, it automatically creates the connection. So here also it's naming convention, they have used Spark. You can keep any naming convention, but generally people give the name Spark. So I have written it Spark. Fine. Now, other important thing I want to discuss is I'm passing everything as a hard coded thing. So it's not good. If you have to pass, if you're working in a real project, you don't have to pass it as a hard code value. You have to pass it as a parameter. So different ways you can pass the parameter. There are different classes to pass the parameter. You can see there's a config object. So you can import this config from the PySpark, and you can set here conf.set Spark name is hello Spark. So you need to remember that what is the key and what is the value, you already know it, but what is the key name, that should be exact. But if you're using a PyCharm with the PySpark functionality, you can directly write it here. It will give the auto set like Spark driver name. So you can, it will auto complete it, and it will help you to give you the name what you want to set up. So this is the one way you can do the setup of the conf. इस तरीके से आप conf setup कर सकते हैं. And then this conf object is passed into this Spark session. So what we are doing, we are creating a configuration, and that we are creating is an object. That object is passed into the Spark session. Now, if you want, this is again a hard coded. This is not a full functional parameterization. If you want to do the full parameterization, so I have created a Spark conf file in the same project structure. You can keep it anywhere else. Here I have given the heading Spark app config. I'll tell you why I have given this heading. And then we have written here Spark name as hello Spark, and the Spark master I have given it this. So in your cluster, when you're running in a project, it will be yarn or something else as per the requirement. So this is the configuration. This is normal text file, but for the understanding, I have given .conf. You will create a utils Python in which I'm trying to create a function which will read this key value pair and then pass that value to the Spark session. So what I'm doing, I'm writing a function. Okay, in this, I'm using the package config parser. With the config parser, I'll try to read this configuration, and I'm iterating to the configuration as key value pair. In this heading, you see this heading. So this heading, I have written it here. So why I have written this heading? For example, I have multiple heading. I am working in a test environment. I am working in a development environment, and same program need to run in both the environment. So you don't need to go and change the program logic, or you don't need to change any of the parameter inside the program. You need to write the heading here, and here you can write the different function for this. Your function will be same, but this iteration will be different in the different function, and you can have a different written code of that, so that the same program can run on different environment without much changing into the program, without checking out of the program. Because the checking the actual program, if you want to check out the actual program, you have to have a multiple layer of permission. You need to have the multiple layer of permission to do that. And there will be always a chance that you will change the other functionality. You will make some bad changes maybe in the other functionality. So to protect that, we do the parameterization. So this way you can do the parameterization. You can try in your computer, in your setup. You can pause the video here, you can get the detail here, and then try writing it. Once you write in your setup, and then you can understand it better. In the program, what I'm doing, I'm just calling this function. So what is this function? Get spark app config. So where it is? It is in the utils program. If I'm putting utils in some other directory, you have to pass it here from, and that directory utils. So it will get it. There are different ways of getting the Python function from a different Python program. So here I'm creating a variable of this function. Okay, so this function is returning what it is returning a sparkconf. What is a sparkconf? Sparkconf is a set of key value. What is this set of key value? This set of key value is, this is the key value, right? So this is getting passed into the conf variable, and this conf is passed into the config of the Spark session. Similar how we have done here. We have created a config here, created an object, and this is passed as a config, as an object into the Spark session. Similarly, what I'm doing, I'm trying to get the configuration from outside, and that is getting into an object and getting inside a config into the Spark session. So this way you can do the parameterization. Hope this is very much clear to you. If you have any doubt in understanding this, if you are have facing any issues in simulating the same scenario, please post your comment. Please post your doubt in the comment. And if you don't want to post the comment, then you can directly mail me. You can get my mail ID from my channel description. तब तक के लिए अपना ख्याल रखें. Take care and happy learning.